first show of the summer season is coming up, so we got to work on new paper cut designs. So let's get started on small ones so we can get more done. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Erica. This is Obi. That's August. And it was bath day today. So he's actually currently soaking the back of my pants, shirt, and chair. I'm really enjoying it. I'm Erica. I run a small business called Hall Street Studio where I make paper cuts, plant accessories, and horse girl accessories. So this week, we're getting started on show inventory. And we really need to flesh out the paper cut designs because it's been a while since I really did a lot of new designs, and most of the new designs I've done recently, as in the last couple years, have been large designs. So I really need to flesh out like the mini size, the 5x7 size, and really get some better designs. Like I have popular designs that I've probably had for over 10 years. And, we could at least update them. Yeah? Oh, okay. He doesn't want to talk. So, I started with sketches. I've got my Pinterest boards with ideas. I've got a list of old designs that could just be updated. Like I'm thinking elephant and baby, but add details, like maybe a little blanket on the mama's back and maybe more dynamic poses. So let's look at my sketches so far. We've got a lot of cats to start with. We've got aliens taking cats, a cat with a butterfly, a cat in a party hat, a grumpy cat in a party hat, a cat with like an all-seeing eye, third eye thing, a cat with a skull, a cat in a takeout bag, and then just like maybe a nicer, more detailed single cat piece. Like the one I have is just like side profile standing there. So like something cuter. Then we get into like some new fish designs. Oh, more cats. Cats, but they're cherries. We've got a new version of the flower hair. That's a little more whimsical and less literal and boring. Hold on. I'm like perched on this chair and Obi's no longer on it. Okay. We've got some dogs, some horses with like floral pieces coming. This is just a bunch of like ducks, geese, swans, whatever. Looking at you. Gold beaks. We got a little teapot. I don't know. We'll see. I drew it. I sketched it out anyway. A martini glass with a tiger in it. Then we get to things like cheetahs, a rabbit with a sword, one of those fancy moths, that have the long wings. Little swallows holding a heart, a heron eating a little fish. So that's most of it. I've got a couple like just written ideas, like little mini stamps and banners with some of the fun sayings, like I have that bird one that says live, laugh, lobotomy, so like maybe a cute little banner and like a little mini size that says that. Could be really cute. I'm aiming for whimsical wit. That's the goal. So let's get started. We got to get some reference photos, and then we got to get started with actually designing these and seeing how many we can get done. Because we really need to get as many as possible. Well, I think I got a little overzealous with this kitten I was working on. There's no way this is gonna cut out in a mini size. It's just way too detailed. So I'm gonna temper myself, and we're gonna remake this in a way that will actually cut. And then I did start I set up this file for this raven, and the one where he's opening his feathers like a little trench coat, and he's got some goodies in there. So simple, simple, simple. I can't go crazy like I did with this kitten. Simple. Well, I was laying in bed last night and I was like, Erica, are they still too detailed? Like, just thinking about the size of a mini because, like, you know, the actual paper cut is so much smaller than the mat, which is so much smaller than the frame. And so, like, the actual paper cut is like in the 1.5 by 2.5 inch size for a mini, and I'm specifically thinking about those keys. And I just feel like they're probably too detailed, like miniature details. So I did set everything out to cut the raven, the kitten, and then that UFO cat thing we're working on. I didn't even bother cutting the UFO cat in a mini because I knew that wasn't gonna work. So pray for me. Let's take this out and see how it looks. Okay. I'm feeling slightly better. I do think the UFO is a little too detailed. One of them broke. But like at the 5x7 size, and this isn't all cleaned up, but can you focus? Hello? Hello? Got a little UFO. And that's a 5x7. Let's see. And we've got this little cat being sucked up by the UFO. He actually, at the 5x7 size, is perfect. I don't know how. All right, let's try one of these ravens in the mini size. All right, well, one of the keys already broke. Honestly, not too bad. See, we've got all the little keys, but you can see this middle one. It did have a little detail in the ring part of it, but it's not there anymore. Yeah, see, here's the 5x7 version. And like you can see this one didn't cut all the way through, so I can probably clean it up with a knife, but you can see it has this tall one has a little detail in the middle, but the rest of them cut pretty good. Okay. Okay. He's adorable. Just a little kitten. His little face is so cute. And actually, everything cut pretty well. And I don't I don't even know if you can see this. The tiny butterfly. And here's the 5x7 one. Look at him. So cute. Okay. I'm actually feeling better. I guess I just kind of stressed myself out last night. So, there's a couple spots to fix. And that's really it. I think that, my one thing was when I was looking at the UFO cat this morning was I think it needs a different cat. Like, I think this cat, excuse me, it's so hard to pick things up with nails. I think this cat is like maybe not the right shape for a single UFO cat. I am thinking about using this in a bigger version, maybe like with a couple cats being beamed up. So I think a little bit more cartoony and less super realistic for the cat. So let's see where we get today. Alrighty, so let's do test cuts of the beetles and the cat we did yesterday. Just to double check, make sure those are all okay. I actually feel like I was really productive yesterday with the design work, so feeling a lot better. But I also have an order for some pinky promises that need to go out today. I just have to make them and frame them. Like, I did the backgrounds and everything, so let's work on the test cuts and then we can get those done. Oh, last night I went to DC and saw Big Ocean, which is a K-pop band. And look, little pan that you got to take home. It was so much fun. I had a great time. Anyway, let's get to test cutting and see if everything works out. Well, this weekend we had a make-a-thon to make inventory for this first show coming up. So I thought I would show you real quick the the new designs like the beetle and the raven and stuff that we cut out last week and how I put them together. And then I've got to get a move on with framing and getting stuff together for the show because I've only got 2 weeks. So let's take a look at the stuff we made. Let's see here. Can you? Okay, so here's our little kitten. I think he came out really cute, especially after we like simplified some of the cuts that I got a little overzealous. The only thing that I see is that right here where this back foot is kind of like a whole blob shape. Whereas I feel like maybe like right here, there could be like another cut line to sort of show like the top of the foot / leg, like the ankle area. So that's the only thing I see. I think right now this is fine, and that the next time I cut it, I'll just add that. So then we have our beetles. And here's the second one. So then we have the cat with the lantern, which I think came out really cute. I put some gold in his lantern, so you can see. Then I had this other background that had like a starburst in it, so I actually didn't put gold in this lantern. I lined it up with the starburst in the background, which I think came out really cool. Then we did our little raven with his trench coat full of keys. And after I did this one, I thought, oh, I should have made the keys gold. So I may actually like take him partially apart and add the gold. But I did go ahead and add it to the 5x7 size, which I think worked out pretty well. I like this design from like a personality perspective. I'm just not sure that it's gonna be popular. You know, what do I know anyway? What do I know anyway? This is why we make new stuff and we try things out based on what other things have sold. So, you know, ravens have been popular in the past, and that's sort of like whimsical, you know, sort of creative, um, you know, and then you sort of branch into like slightly more literal items. So that's why we make new designs, so we can try out stuff. And the nice thing is that we're going to this first show in Rockville, and that one's in May. And so we can kind of try out some of these new designs and see if anyone likes them. And then we can double down on anything when we go to like the Pittsburgh show, which, you know, is like 20 times the size. So we'll need more inventory and more stuff like that. But this Rockville show gives us some data, which you know how I feel about data. So these are done. They have to be framed and everything. And obviously I'll probably make a few more. This is just those test cuts we did. I did get a little overzealous this weekend and put in new shelving units and another countertop in my office. So, like, as you see, like, I'll need to, like, decorate the walls and stuff, but we will discuss that in another video. So right now, we're done making new designs and we're gonna switch over to framing and everything. So I hope you'll join me for that. So any engagement, like, comment, subscribe, any of that is all good. And I'll see you in the next one. This is so funny, but I was just uploading videos and I noticed I'm wearing the same sweater I was wearing in the first day I recorded for this video. What can you do?